Welcome, everybody, to One Stage at a Time, the podcast where we play through a video game one stage at a time, every stage. We're playing through Super Mario Bros. World 4-3. I'm Aaron Neeson.
I'm Andy Prem.
And we are joined in studio by Mr. Jared Vandergriff. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Sure.
Yes, thank you for being here, J-Rod. We're glad to have you back. We're halfway through World 4 now.
Yeah.
We've reached World 4-3.
It's all downhill from here, right?
It's all downhill from here, folks.
Yeah, it's all super easy, no problem.
Well, we're out of the underground. We're back in the athletic stages. And we've got a good one for you today, folks. But fellas, what did you think of World 4-3?
Jared?
It's fun. I mean, I like the all the platforms, lots of jumping.
You enjoy the athletic stages?
I do. Yeah, I think they're fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
I mean, you know, it's a platform game, and this is like sort of the bread and butter of the genre. So
Yeah, secrets are kind of de-emphasized. It's more in the vein of like, I don't know, like a Mario Galaxy than like a Mario 64, right? You're not exploring really. You're just going straight to the end.
sure, yeah, just brute forcing it.
Yeah, this is an interesting contrast, Mario 64 versus Mario Galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah. One's more open-ended, and the other is not.
But yeah, like that's a strange transition though. Like the Mario 64 from the old Mario to the new Mario has been going on since Mario 64. Because
Yeah.
I mean, just like it's just weird to think about like what they worked with the like graphical and processing limitations and stuff, and what they were able to do, because they still had a very interesting mix of both. Like they started getting into like true exploration with like a 3D world, and it's interesting. It's cool.
Yeah, they really pushed it far at the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, this game was pushing it far at the time it came out too.
It's much more controls much better than any game that I can think of that came before it. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, this is again a return to the athletic stages. We're again on these giant mushroom-time platforms in the sky, which we saw briefly in the previous stage. If you chose to enter the warp zone,
You did. Yeah, that secret vine.
but now we've got a whole stage full of them. We've got red Koopa Troopas and red Koopa Paratroopas. We've got balance beams, like those pulley-type platforms that go up or down depending on which one you're standing on.
Yeah. Is this the only stage where those appear, or the first stage that those appear in this game?
No, we
this
have
isn't
seen
the
them
first
before.
one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've seen them in previous athletic stages, but
They're definitely much more featured in this one.
yeah, there's 3 or 4 of them in this
Yeah,
stage.
there's quite a few.
Yeah, 4 by my count, but we've seen more of them in other stages, I think. Or not more of them. I mean, we've seen like maybe one in a
They've been
previous
there,
stage.
yes.
They've been there.
Yeah, they weren't introduced here. They were heavily utilized here, though.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty good stage, I would say.
And only red Koopas.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah, only red Koopas.
And a
Yeah.
couple of flyers too, right?
Right, we've got red Koopas and red Koopa Paratroopas.
And I
that's
encountered
about
a
it.
very unique enemy.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about what happened to you, Aaron.
Yeah, I was playing along, and battling some Koopas and jumping around, and then all of a sudden I notice in the bottom right hand corner there's a Koopa Troopa that's walking along on nothing. He's just strolling along through the air. He doesn't have wings. He doesn't have anything. He's just a little Koopa just walking along down there on the bottom, and he goes off screen. I'm like, what? I wasn't sure what I saw at first. So I was like, what was that? So I hurried up and I continued on, and he was still just walking along, strolling along. I was thinking, oh, well, that's a fun glitch. Okay, I have to kill him. He must die. He's an affront to nature. And so I did. So I jumped down there and I killed him. I was hoping, so I jumped down and there wasn't any platforms around him or anything. I jumped down hoping that I would bounce back up with enough height to land on a platform, but that did not happen.
Nope.
I bounced
Sure
up
didn't.
a few pixels and then fell to my death.
Are we sure?
A victim of hubris.
Yeah.
Hoisted on your own petard.
I mean, I was just letting Mario's bloodlust play out.
I was gonna say, I think it's interesting that you sort of like fulfilled the villainous role that you believe.
I get into
Mario
my
has.
character.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. This game was the first role-playing game. You could choose how you wanted to interpret the character.
You could.
If you're Aaron, you suicidally pursue death at all costs.
Because that's what Mario would want.
And if you're me or Jared, you take a more heroic, almost altruistic route through the game.
Yeah, you collect as many coins as possible.
Yeah.
And become a member of the 1%.
Yeah, you're right.
You
Yeah.
starve the rest of the kingdom, and charge exorbitant prices for your saving duties.
Hey, look, King Cooper has weapons of mass destruction. Well, y'all want to hear some stats for World 4-3?
Hit me with them stats.
It's pretty short. As with most athletic stages, there's not a lot going on. It's mostly just a straight rush to the end. But we do have 26 coins and a single power-up. Other than that, we got nothing. No starmen, no one-ups, no hidden areas.
Yeah, pretty sparse. That's par for the course for these guys.
Yep.
But it upped the challenge, and it was great. It was fun.
Yeah, I like this stage. I don't know. The athletic stages aren't my favorites in the game. I prefer the ones that are more exploration based, but they're fun. You can kind of jam on it and just get into the jumping and the platforming. But yeah, not a lot really happening in this stage, and it's pretty short too.
It is pretty short. But they pack a lot in there, even without secrets to explore. I wish that there were more green Koopas. I like the green Koopas, and I think that they're especially dangerous on these levels because they will drop down on you. When
That's
the red
true.
Koopas just go back and forth on the platform, I think that the green Koopas are more of a hazard than the red ones, really.
I think in some cases, in other cases, like on a small platform where there's a red Koopa Troopa on it, jumping onto it, you have to time it more precisely.
Whereas with the green ones,
Sure,
they'll
you
just
just
fall
wait.
off the edge and die.
Yeah.
You don't really have to worry about them.
Yeah, that's true.
But I agree with Aaron, if you're jumping like up to a platform, if there's like, you can wait for a green one to walk off of it, or like it might fall on you if you do that though, which can be dangerous.
Are there any spots? I don't think there are in this level, but are there any in this game where you can get to a platform that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get to from a green Koopa or even a paratroopa like that you can hop off of and then get up to something that you wouldn't be able to get to otherwise?
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like in midair, jump off of it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I know that like jumping on enemies in this game doesn't really give you a lot of height
That's true.
compared to
Yeah,
like later
that-
Mario games.
Killed me.
yeah. Aaron
That
found
little
that out the
Koopa
hard
down
way. But there might be cases where like a flying enemy you could get up to something maybe.
Yeah.
But when Mario's at full tilt run, he can actually jump like very high in this
Pretty
game.
far. Yeah, that's true.
Well, let's see. We don't have any firsts for this stage.
None.
Pretty sparse
Really?
stage.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I mean, I had
it's
the fir-
it's
I
a
had the
cool enough
first-
stage,
I had the
but
first Koopa who will walk on air. Without wings.
yeah.
So that's something.
the for us at least, you can trigger that glitch in lots of stages in this game, including as early as 1-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Just so there's a way to trigger it, or is it's just a glitch? that
It's
happens?
as with most glitches, there's ways you can trigger it if you know what to do, or it could just happen randomly
I
for
didn't
you.
do anything.
But like people who have really tested this game thoroughly
boy.
could trigger those kinds of things.
Oh, I bet they could.
I don't know though. I'm gonna come out and say I think this stage probably my least favorite in World 4.
It's not anything revolutionary. It's not anything that introduces anything particularly exciting. It's just another athletic stage, and I ragged on that previous that overworld stage where it's just more enemies. The same thing you've done before, but just a few more enemies.
Yeah.
And so I get that you weren't taken with this, but I guess athletic stages aren't as common, so it's a little more exciting when there's one that shows up just in general. And I love the mushroom platforms.
Yeah, the mushroom platforms are a great tile set.
They're so cool and they're so fun and they're just wacky different.
Yeah, it's really fantastical. It like these stages really make you feel like you're in a different world.
Yeah.
Something really like wild and fabulous.
Yeah. And it's just and they're a little, I think they're a little more challenging than just the overworld running along the tile levels.
In some ways, but
in some ways,
in
yes.
4-1 we had Lakitu, which was certainly very challenging
Yes.
and unique. And then 4-2 had a lot of like pitfalls and hazards as well.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to imply that the other levels weren't challenging, Andy. I'm sorry. If that's how you took it.
Apology accepted.
But I guess I just really enjoy like the vertical aspect really becoming a major player in the gameplay.
Are there levels later on that have the mushroom platforms and Lackey 2?
Oh boy.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't
Oh,
think
no.
so, but there
Okay.
are ones that have mushroom platforms and bullet bills.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we'll see that later.
We haven't seen
that's
any
true.
bullet bills yet, have we?
No, we haven't. That's a little spoiler for you folks.
Oh, no.
It won't be until World 5 that we meet that guy.
It's coming up soon, real soon.
I'm curious from like a lore perspective. Is there a relationship between the mushroom platforms and the mushroom that turns you into Super Mario?
That's an excellent question because they do, in this game at least, have similar colors.
Yeah.
The giant mushrooms are like a brown orange-ish color with red spots, which is the same as the magic mushroom that makes Mario into Super Mario.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they are like related species of fungi.
Or maybe these are just mushrooms that ate other magic mushrooms. And then they
these
grew.
these are super mushrooms.
Exactly.
They're cannibalizing themselves.
They're not mushrooms. They're super mushrooms.
Maybe there's another game called Super Mushroom Brothers.
Maybe. And they eat
A
Marios.
secret game. Yeah. Yeah. So somebody should just swap the the sprite palettes.
Should.
Yeah, these are. I don't know. It really makes you think about like what's going on in the Mushroom Kingdom that they have fungus this large and this prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
Is this natural, or did Bowser do this somehow?
Well, it's all the king, right?
You mean Bowser? You mean Cooper?
No, the king of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Oh,
like
okay.
all these giant all the mushrooms are the king, right?
And you're referring, of course, to Super Mario Brothers, the movie?
Which trumps all other lore.
Which is
As we know.
the canonical.
That's right. It is the canon.
Yeah, because we do see the king in that movie, don't we? He's like
He's
Yeah.
everywhere. He's
Yeah.
got turned into a giant
fungus. Yeah.
fungus that creeped throughout the entire world.
Yeah, the king is like Sir not appearing in these games. We never see him in any of the Nintendo Mario games.
You see him in three.
In 3, yeah.
Well, you see kings of other places. Like
Those are not the Mushroom King.
Right.
They're-
It's like the king of grassland
Yeah,
or
yeah,
desert
okay.
land or waterland. Yeah, we never
didn't
see
realize that.
Peach's presumable father if she has one, if he's still alive. We never see him. Well, I
Could it be
mean,
her brother.
you do. Well, I guess that's true too. But we do see him in the Nintendo Comics system. He makes numerous appearances there. As kind of like he's like an oafish, bumbling figure.
Of course he is.
In one issue, he gets his tie stuck in a jar of peanut butter.
His tie? He gets his tie stuck in a jar of peanut butter?
Yep. That
What?
pretty much sums up the character. He has like an older, like mushroom, like a toad type retainer called Wooster, who's like helping him out. This isn't even Lore Corner. This is just stuff I know for some reason.
Because you're a huge fan.
Yeah, I'm a super fan, folks. I love to see it. But let's see. Y'all want to get into history for this episode?
Sure.
All right. Well, today's history is titled Solar Power. So we've been talking about Gunpei Yokoi and different electronic toys that he came up with, starting with the famous Love Tester. And Mr. Yamauchi was so impressed that he ordered Mr. Yokoi and the R&D department to come up with more electronic toys. So, Mr. Yokoi is hiring lots of talent to fill this new R&D department, which he's the head of. He recruited a young engineer named Masayuki Uemura. Mr. Uemura he worked for Sharp, the electronic company Sharp. And he was an engineer, but he was like working there as a salesman. And he actually came to Nintendo attempting to hawk some solar cells to Mr. Yokoi. And the two like really hit it off and ended up just like...
Sorry, as an aside, is Sharp still a thing?
I think so. Is Sharp still a company?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Carry on.
Anyway. Nevertheless,
Spin-off podcast idea.
just about Sharp. This is the Sharp cast.
Sorry. Let's get to the point.
Oh, geez.
Oh. Well, anyway, Mr. Uemura and Mr. Yokoi really hit it off.
Sorry.
That was a pretty edgy joke.
Oh my god, you guys.
I'm cutting edge, would you say?
We're gonna cut all of this when we get to editing. So the two guys were playing around with these solar cells. Mr. Uemura, even though he was on a sales call, ended up just chatting with Mr. Yokoi for a while, and they both realized that the solar cells could be put to a lot of interesting uses in some of the electronic toys that Nintendo R&D was developing. So Mr. Yokoi actually just hired Uemura away from Sharp and put him to work in R&D. Mr. Uemura was happy to make this change. He was tired of just being a salesman, wanted to be an engineer. And he described Nintendo's culture thusly: very serious men thinking about play. Mr. Uemura said that a lot of Japanese companies at the time were mostly just importing like American ideas and just making smaller, more efficient versions of them, whereas Nintendo was interested in original ideas. So he became one of the first disciples of Mr. Yokoi.
I wonder what American ideas that he was referring to.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Shrunk down.
That quote I'm getting from David Sheff's book, Game Over. David Sheff apparently talked to Mr. Uemura and got that quote. But I'm not really sure what exactly he's referring to. Probably like tape players and, Walkmans and stuff like that.
Popular items at the time. But
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Because this is like early 1970s we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the first things they came up with was a Nintendo beam gun using the solar cells. The idea was that you would set up a target with a solar cell in it and point a light gun at it and pull the trigger. And if you hit the target, it would respond to the light shooting out of the gun. A lot like the NES Zapper, although that wouldn't come around a lot till a while later.
Yeah, that's the first thing that jumped to my mind was like the light gun.
Yeah.
But using very different technology.
Yeah, well, somewhat similar.
Sure, somewhat similar, but I mean, it's very different pointing it at a solar cell that registers light than pointing it, at your television. Like,
yeah. But you can see the genesis of the tech.
Yeah.
You can see how they would get there from where they were at this point.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There's a clear evolution, but yeah.
They had different versions of these. Very hard to find nowadays, but these, there, for example, like a stack of barrels that might blow apart and collapse if you hit the target.
Interesting. So they were like physical objects that you would be shooting at, and then they would react based on how you, like whether or not you hit the actual solar cell embedded in them.
Yep. That's correct. These sold for around $30 each.
Wow.
Apparently they were pretty popular.
$30 70s time? $70s?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. And I mean, it was in yen, of course. This is like, I'm estimating.
Different time, different currency, but
right.
Yeah.
So that's like $500 million.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of $950 billion today. But apparently these did pretty well. The solar cells were like not a brand new technology, but they were getting cheaper, and Mr. Yokoi saw the potential in them to do something interesting. This was kind of the whole Nintendo philosophy. I think we've said this before on the show, but Mr. Yokoi had a motto, and David Sheff quotes him as saying, "The Nintendo way of adapting technology is not to look for the state of the art, but to utilize mature technology that can be mass-produced cheaply." And that kind of informs basically all of Nintendo's thinking, even up to the present day.
Yeah.
You can really see a through line, through like the Wii and even the Wii U.
Yeah, totally.
And
The Switch,
sure. Yeah.
Everything they developed technological wise is like, it's very advanced as far as
the
like,
application, but not the actual technology.
utilization.
Yeah.
But as far as like graphics and game processing speed. It's like a few years behind generally. But that's because they wanted to use known technologies in order to implement new ideas.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's a
cool.
proven thing.
It's frustrating when you want the newest game on like the very technologically advanced current game on your Nintendo Switch, and it's not coming out for your Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It also explains why Nintendo products have such a low rate of failure. When you look at like Sony or Microsoft's consoles, they always have had failure problems with like at least the first generation or the first run of a new generation.
Yeah.
But even Mr. Yokoi had a motto in Japanese, which was Karita Gijutsu no Suihei Shiko, which means lateral thinking of seasoned technology. And this was something he would repeat a lot and took with him, when he eventually started his own company much later after he left Nintendo.
He just muttered it to himself as he wandered the hall.
Just his hands clasped behind his back and his head hanging low as he muttered that over and over.
A vein popping in his forehead.
It's like, what's that guy's name? John Nash, the Beautiful Mind mathematician.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, Masayuki Uremura was one of the first disciples of Mr. Yokoi, and there would be others. But they all kind of took this philosophy to heart. And you can see how a lot of these guys are still at Nintendo and still implementing it today. Nintendo was really off to the races as far as electronic games and novelties went. Mr. Yamauchi wanted more of this stuff to be made. And a new, more modern headquarters was required as well. So around this same time, he built a new building in Kyoto to serve as the new headquarters, a better, research environment for his teams. Nintendo by this time had changed its name. It was previously called Nintendo Karuta, which means Nintendo playing cards. It was now Nintendo Co. Limited, which is what it is still called today. And it became a publicly traded entity as well. Mr. Yamauchi still retained a commanding share of the stock, but it was still publicly traded. That doesn't really mean the same thing as in America. In America, corporations are kind of beholden to a profit motive and to quick rewards. There's an emphasis on immediate growth. In Japan, it's not really that same way. The boards, I'm not sure if this is by law or by custom or what, but the boards apparently enjoy more freedom in terms of like long-term gains and growth rather than like short-term quarterly gains. But whatever the case was, Mr. Yamauchi was still, basically the dictator of Nintendo at this time.
You think they care about like making decisions about so they don't destroy the planet? Maybe a little bit. Maybe over there in Japan.
I don't know. Ask the Japanese whaling companies what they think about that.
Fair point.
Maybe in some ways. I mean, they definitely seem more interested in nature and the environment.
Yeah.
The Kyoto Accords. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as I can tell, they haven't pulled out of the Paris Agreement. So
too political for this podcast.
Yeah, Aaron's throwing some shade.
Look, listen. This podcast, when you boil it down to it, is all about political strife.
That's right. I've said before, Mario is a worker. He wears the color red proudly.
He says that Mario's a worker. I say that Bowser is just trying to broker peace between two nations by having a wedding between the two leaders.
by kidnapping the daughter of the leader of one of those nations.
Hey, listen. Is Achilles a hero or not? Is he?
It's all great men of history are simultaneously heroes and genocidal warmongers.
Just saying.
Look at Genghis Khan, folks.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, I mean, they put him on their money in Mongolia. He's the father of their country.
Most of them, yeah.
Ooh, that's a rough chuckle.
Well, no, I mean, like, what was it? Like, Genghis Khan, you can trace the bloodlines of, like, an eighth of the world's population back to Genghis Khan or something like that.
A lot. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a huge amount.
At some point in way back when, it's just saying.
Yeah. Bowser is apparently the same way. He's just, kidnapping ladies and just killing all of his enemies all across the kingdoms.
Listen. When in this game Have we seen it been said that Bowser kidnapped her?
It's in the instruction manual.
I don't have an instruction. Yeah, I don't have an instruction manual.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem, Aaron.
It's all propaganda put out by the Toads.
Have we technically even seen Bowser in this
No,
game?
we haven't. We haven't.
Yeah, no, we've only seen the Bowser
We've seen the
imposters.
imposters,
Yeah. Well, in any event, this is a debate that we'll continue to have, but we do have some lore for this episode. Would you guys like to go to the lore corner?
Indeed, I would.
All right, for today's lore corner, I'd like to go back to something that Aaron has brought up in the past, which is that we've talked about where Mario and Luigi are from. Jared, where do you think Mario and Luigi are from?
I mean, just based on their names, it seems like they're like Italian because they're named Mario and Luigi. But this also takes place in a completely fictional setting, so beyond that, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Well, I would agree. I think that they are, as we see in the movie and in the cartoons and in the comics, they're Italian plumbers from Brooklyn. They're Italian Americans who go through a warp pipe into the Mushroom Kingdom. But Aaron has maintained that they are actually star children. And Aaron, I'm forced to admit that there may be some credence to
I didn't
to your
make
opinion.
it up. This wasn't just something that I was like, you know what would be fun to do? Lie about this. No, I read it on some Mario
I wouldn't put that
wiki.
past you.
When have I ever? It doesn't matter. Listen, I read it on some Mario wiki about the Mario, and it said they're star children. Him and Luigi and Peach and Donkey Kong and Wario are all star children.
Well, they are star children, but that might not mean what you think it means. So I've done some research on this now. This is from Yoshi's New Island. And you're right, Mario, Luigi, Wario, Peach, Baby Bowser, Donkey Kong, and one of the Yoshis are all considered star children. And in the lore of that game, what that means is that if all 7 babies with the stars are gathered in one place, whoever controls them can control the universe. And that game involves Bowser traveling back in time from the future to kidnap all the babies in the world in the hopes of acquiring the 7 star children. So it's not that they like come from the stars; they just have like this magical ability. Also in that game, we find out, so in the first Yoshi's Island game, the babies are being delivered by a stork to a house that's shaped like a mushroom where 2 parents who are just seen in silhouette like find the kids. But in Yoshi's New Island, it's revealed, in Yoshi's Island, in Yoshi's New Island, sorry, the Star Children thing is from Yoshi's Island DS. Yoshi's New Island, which is for 3DS.
Right.
It's very complicated.
This is a very shadowy lore corner.
Yoshi's New Island, which is an interquel between the first 2 games.
Stop it.
I'm not making this up. I swear to God, this is 100% canon and should not be questioned. Yoshi's New Island is an interquel, and it's revealed in that game that the parents they were delivered to in the first Yoshi's Island were not the right parents. The stork got the wrong house. So this game is about getting them eventually to the correct house, which looks very similar to the first one.
If that house is in Brooklyn, I'm going to be real mad.
Nope, it's another mushroom-shaped house with 2 like humans that are also just seen in silhouette. Apparently the correct house this time, although how can we be sure? The stork made a mistake once before.
Yeah.
But also I have to wonder, where did this stork get the babies from? Did he kidnap them, possibly from Brooklyn, to bring them to this place? I don't know, folks. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
All right. So who are Mario and Luigi's parents?
We don't know.
Who's Papa Mario? Who's Mama Mario?
Well, we do see Mama Mario in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. I can tell you that much.
Do we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she shows up. At least you hear her voice in an episode or 2, and they discuss her, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we can Google a picture. I'm pretty sure it probably just looks like Captain Lou Albano wearing a dress.
Okay, so I don't even know where to start summarizing any of this. Maybe they're plumbers from Brooklyn. Maybe they're star children who were kidnapped by a stork and then taken to parents and then taken to turned out that was the wrong parents, had to be taken to another set of parents, and then the Princess Peach, who's also a star child, they have to rescue her, and Mario loves her. I don't know. Oh my goodness!
We're now seeing Mama
You
Mario.
weren't exaggerating when you said it was Captain Lou Albano dressed as a woman. That's not an exaggeration. Holy cow! I don't even know what to say at this point.
It's almost as if they were making up the story as they were going.
Maybe they needed a Kevin Feige.
Well, now you're just talking
Plan out
crazy.
the whole.
It's just crazy talk. So yeah, Captain Lou Albano fulfilling many roles. He was a talented actor. He played lots of different parts. Eddie Murphy stole that idea from Captain
He's a
Lou.
method actor, I believe.
he became a plumber.
He became
and murdered turtles to get into his role as Mario.
Why are you setting that turtle on fire?
I have the fire flower.
Apparently, there's also a character named Aunt Luigina, who is portrayed by Danny Wells, the actor that portrayed Luigi in those live action segments.
Oh my god.
Oh man, what a great show.
What a train wreck.
All right, well, we went into some pretty deep lore on this episode. Are you guys, do you need a minute to decompress after
No, I'm
that?
satisfied. It was great. It was great. I love the deep lore stuff because it's so ridiculous that
It's just super absurd.
I can say anything and it's fine.
You can say things like interquel and nobody blinks.
Yeah, listeners at home, you might think I'm just pulling your leg, but look up the Super Mario Wiki and you'll see that I am not. Well, should we wrap up, guys?
I think that's probably wise.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we could take it from there.
World 4-4.
That's where we're heading next.
I think that's where we should take it.
We got a castle in our future.
Oh boy.
Well, listeners out there, please follow us on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams and all those good things. Friendster. Yeah.
Search for us on Alta Vista.
Search J-Rod Vanderslice on Friendster.
Don't do that, actually. You don't want to see that.
It's very inappropriate. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Give us a like and subscribe on.
Rate and review the show.
Yes, please rate and review us. It helps us out a lot. And,
send us your comments.
Yeah, please join the conversation. Play along. Let us know what you think. Ask us your questions, and we'll say things in response.
It's kind of what we do.
I don't know if it'll be correct answers or not, but we'll say things.
Yeah,
and it'll be fun. We'll all have a great time.
If they're not correct, we'll pretend that they are. And if you correct us, we'll ignore you.
or they'll be our corrections department. Who knows?
That's true. Yeah, we like to go to the corrections department when we remember to.
But we'll probably ignore you. Thanks for listening.
We'll see y'all next time for World 4-4 of Super Mario Brothers.
Indeed. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.